Have you, as a business owner, been wanting to start posting online and building out your personal brand, but because of mindset blocks, you've not been doing it? Mindset blocks such as imposter syndrome, mindset blocks such as believing that you don't have the right authority, fear of judgment from other people, speaking to the camera, not sure that you're going to sound like the authority you want to be, not sure that you're going to deliver the message you actually want to. Well, if any of these resonated with you, then we're going to cover them in this video. We're going to talk about how you can overcome them. And if you're wondering who is this guy to talk about this on this brand new channel at the time that I'm recording it, where there's only 25 subs, I've built an audience of over 140,000 across 3 platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And I've had around 35 to 40 million views combined on these. I've been doing this for 2.5 years now. And I coach male business owners to build out their personal brands too. So I have a decent amount of knowledge about building out these brands. And I'd like to share with you what I've learned, because it's almost 3 years ago that I started and that I faced some of these problems. So let's start with the mindset block number one. Mindset block number one is fear that you're not going to sound like the authority that you want to be. This is very much a natural block that you're going to get, right? A natural form of imposter syndrome that you'll get in content and also in business. It's probably not the first time that you've actually experienced this block. So I'm just trying to get the lighting good because I'm recording in the middle of the day. It's probably not the first time you've experienced this. It is, after all, a pretty normal human tendency to have some self-doubt. And we're not going to go into the deeper psychological roots here. For some people, it might actually be a case of you needing to do the inner work and identifying what the limiting belief is that's causing you to doubt what you're doing. But I'm just going to give you a practical exercise now to handle this at the moment, because realistically, a lot of the time, this can be addressed by you just proving to yourself that you do actually have the authority and the expertise. If you genuinely do. One of the problems we see in the online space at the moment with a lot of personal brands is you have a lot of people talking about stuff that they haven't actually done themselves. They're just repeating the content that they've seen from other people, and they've learned to communicate it in a way that looks like they have that authority. And if you're doing that, you're going to be riddled with self-doubt. To be brutally honest, this is something that I did when I first started coaching myself. I was talking about making money online because I had made money online by getting paid by TikTok and YouTube for my views, but I hadn't actually experienced building out businesses yet. And I was helping ambitious corporate men at the time who wanted to break out and start online. And I had terrible imposter syndrome with this because I'd learned commercial skills in my previous job and a little bit about the online business space, but I just really got the expertise in the personal branding at the time. So there was that doubt there that was genuinely based on not fully knowing what I was talking about. But as a genuine expert in your space, if you genuinely know your shit and you know your client, what you need to do is write out what the pain points and the desires are, the day-to-day problems. What is this causing your ideal client, your ideal customer, your end user to be thinking and feeling? You know your customer, you know their problems. So what would you talk about to them? Let's say if you were going to be on a sales call with them, or what would you talk about through your copywriting on your website if you're not doing a sales call based model, if you're just trying to get people to buy off the website? Because this is the exact same stuff that you're going to speak about in your content. Speak directly to the issues that they're facing, what they want to achieve, and then of course how your product and your service helps them to achieve that desired outcome and relieve them of that frustration or that pain that they're experiencing. You don't have to give away the whole thing, you don't have to give away your whole process, but if you truly know what your end user is experiencing and how your product or service helps them to overcome that, you literally just speak to those things. And if you've got results for people already in your business, which I'm sure you have, you can just reference the people that you've helped so far. It will help you to build trust and social proof. I'll give you an example of this again with my own coaching, right? You can look at this guy called Jared. Jared has built out an Instagram that's 3 times the size as my own now, right? And I coached him on personal branding when he was first starting, and I can put him up on screen as well so you can see what he's up to now, right? But you do the same thing with your business. This is you proving that you have the authority. And as an actual exercise to do this, just write all of this down, pen and paper before. I recommend pen and paper over typing. I just think that it's easier to sit there without the distractions of the mobile and the screen and really, really rack your brain for everything that you've done and get that list clear so you know exactly what it is that you can help them with. You know exactly who you've helped and how you've done it. And now you have a bank of talking points for your content. So this is the thing that I would recommend first of all for overcoming the fear of not sounding like an authority. Now, the second problem is the fear of judgment, the fear of putting yourself out there. And this is extremely common, even for entrepreneurs and business owners, men who have taken risks. They know what it takes to put themselves out there and do something different, to defy the odds of going into standard employment and following convention. But when it comes to putting their face on camera, there can be this huge fear around it. I'll give you an example of this. There was a previous client that I had called Daniel, and he was ex-military, right? You know, he'd gone into the army and he was terrified of speaking on camera. It was really nerve-wracking for him. And for a lot of people, this is because they fear the judgment. They fear that people are going to laugh at them and think that they look like an idiot. And I find that a lot of the time with people, this stems from this misconception that creating content like this and speaking to the camera is the process of you becoming a viral influencer, where you become a viral YouTuber, a PewDiePie, Mr. Beast, these kinds of people, when it really isn't. In today's day and age, personal branding is an avenue that you can have an audience online where thousands of people know you. You can technically become famous. And by famous, I literally mean more people know you than you know them. Not that you're like a celebrity, but you're known, right? But you still might barely ever bump into those people or get recognized in public because it's a very niche and focused following specific to one thing. It's not like you're becoming a huge celebrity. And if you are somebody who does want to have a massively impactful personal brand where you have a lot of attention on you, this is also something that I can help you with. There's a little bit of a different process with this. And by the way, if after watching this video you feel like you would like to work with me to build out your personal brand so that you can attract more clients, get more sales, build a quality audience, or maybe all of these combined, feel free to click on the link below and watch that video, book in an intro call with me just to have a chat and see if we're fit to work together. But I can help you with both of these. I've built out a micro personal brand and viral personal brands, slightly different strategies. But carrying on, right, if you don't want to be a viral influencer, just remember, when you create this content, it's going to be a while before lots of people see you, realistically, unless you fucking strike straight away with your first video, which can happen sometimes. One of my previous clients, Miles, he hit his first 10,000 view video in under a month of us working together, right? But most of his videos don't get that number, okay? So realistically, just remember, you aren't going to be this viral influencer. Actually, you're posting videos online that very hyper-specific algorithms are pushing out to people. And when we design content to be value-focused rather than viral-focused, aka you are speaking to that specific person, like I mentioned earlier, where you're speaking to their pain points and their desires, you're reaching that crowd of people. And of course, the size of that audience, the ideal client, the ideal buyer, your end user will vary depending on your business needs. But remember, putting yourself out there, most people, they don't care. And fundamentally, nobody really cares about us as much as we care about ourselves. And I know that that might be something that you understand logically, but it is true. And if the people around you aren't supportive of you and they're going to take the piss, well, you wait until you start getting your results. You wait until you start getting really quality clients, more sales for your business, getting all of these opportunities where you have freedom and you get fulfillment from speaking to a camera. Because realistically, the kind of people that are going to try and drag you down for creating videos, they're not the kind of people that you want in your life anyway. And you probably know this already as an entrepreneur. And imagine that if you're an entrepreneur, especially out in places like Bali or Thailand or maybe even Dubai, you're surrounded by the people who get it. They're not going to judge you for it. The ones back home who do care, honestly, in its simplest explanation, fuck them. It doesn't really matter. So remember, When it comes to the fear of judgment, we're not in this to go viral. If you are in it to go viral, though, again, slightly different strategy, which I can help you with. But for the majority of us, it's about speaking to a specific person. It's going to be hyper-focused. You're not becoming a celebrity. You are still one of thousands and thousands of people in an online space that is flooded with content. There are millions of pieces of content going out daily. So as inoffensively as possible, you are not as significant as you think. And I want you to see that in a good way. So the last but very common block is the concern that you haven't delivered the point the way you wanted it to be. Maybe this is stemming from a place of perfectionism. Maybe it's stemming from a place of wanting to be authentic and fear of being perceived differently to how you want it to be. And what I want you to fundamentally remember here is, see, I could have recorded that then, I stumbled on my own wording. The video is never going to be perfect. And if it is perfect, that's probably a sign that you are getting caught up in perfectionism to the detriment of your personal brand. And I have actually done a video talking about how perfectionism can be used to your advantage. I'll put that on the screen for you now if you'd like to see it. But a lot of the time it actually isn't, and it slows you down and it stops you getting feedback quicker. And simultaneously, people aren't looking for perfect. In the age of AI, people want to see humanity. They want to see realness. They want to see who you are. So if you keep some of these flaws in, it shows the reality of you and what it's like doing this. So in its simplest explanation, you don't actually have to deep it that much, right? Because that is the authenticity. That is the realness of the content that you're making. As long as you deliver the key points, as long as you tap through to your ideal viewer with the things that I mentioned earlier, as long as they clearly understand what it is that you do, who you're trying to help, how you can help them, then you're on the right track. And I'll give you another example of this. Earlier in this video, I was actually meant to put my pitch in, my sales pitch, right, where I invite you as the viewer to book in a call with me, and I forgot to do it because I already got in the flow. So I'll either crop it in to the video earlier on, or I just won't put it in and I'll leave it here. Now, the thing with that is ideally you do actually want to get your pitch in fairly early on so that people understand. Also remember that a lot of people have pretty poor view time. They click off the video after the first few minutes, right? So if you do get them in initially and they understand and they come back over and over, they're reminded of what it is that you do, right? And they become familiar with you. But I'm just going to accept it for this video that I didn't get that in quick enough, and that's fine because I can do it in the next video. And you don't want to be consistently doing that all the time, but you don't have to overstress it, right? You don't have to overthink it. The video's never really going to be perfect. And if you're really concerned on the authenticity lines, that what you're saying doesn't come across who you really think you are, that is when you need to question, why is that, right? Have you made a video that isn't aligned with who you really are? Are you talking about something from a position of authority that you're not an authority in? Are you delivering things in a way that isn't natural to who you are? Are you trying to be something that you're not? Because if you are doing that, you can just be honest with yourself and say, okay, what is it that I did differently? You could ask AI to analyze the video and the word choice for you and see how it perceives it, and then have a look at that and compare it and say, is this normally how I'm perceived? Is this the type of person that I want to portray myself as? And also just getting clear on all of these things in the first place, which is again something that I help my clients with at the beginning of their process of building out their personal brand. Is we work on that self-discovery so that you're crystal clear on who you are, who your client is, what you stand for, what you're going to bring to the table, this kind of shit. But again, that's for another video. But look, remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you are saying things that you actually believe in, that you actually know what you're talking about, and you know you can genuinely help people with it, that is you saying the right thing. But guys, I hope you found this insightful. Like I said, if you want to watch some of my more videos, if you want to watch some of my, I'm stumbling all over the place today. If you want to watch more of my videos, feel free to go through my channel, click on the link below, book in a call with me if you want, and I'll see you in the next one.